Hey there, Libra. It's time to have a look and see what is going on when it comes to your first week of December 2020. Remember, your rising sign is going to give you further clarity as to how a great deal of your sun sign horoscope is going to show up, and your moon sign horoscope is going to give you the other story that is also going on throughout this week in a less prominent way. If you ever want to get a session with me, you do need to go to my website, integrativemysticism.com, or you may follow those links down below. And on Sunday, December 6th at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, US and Canada, I am going to be hosting my Grand Shift webinar where we will be doing all kinds of guided activations, attunements, and preparations to get into alignment with the solar eclipse new moon in Gemini, as well as the Grand Conjunction and the solstice. Huge influxes of energies that are just going to be blazing through the second half of December and even beyond. And so if you're interested in signing up for that, again, you could do so at my website. If you cannot attend the live, that is okay. I'm going to be sending out replays as well to everyone who makes a purchase in the days following the event. So what's going on when it comes to your cards? Well, when it comes to your main theme, you have the Empress in reverse. And the Empress reverse is indicating you're going to be witnessing a lot of things going through a process of decay during this week. And when I say decay, the Empress reverse is indicating a lot of things are decaying because they might be losing their relevance, losing their value, or possibly even starting to become their own worst enemy, or become their own, let's just say their own worst enemy in that sense, or maybe even become lost causes. Because as we see the Empress reversed, we see kind of this sense of that lower, distorted, toxic feminine kind of energy eating itself, devouring itself. Now, this is not saying that everything is going to go straight to hell this week, but we have to pay attention to certain things that need to be maybe dropped, or things that we need to be giving ourselves permission to finally move away from, finally let go of, especially if we've found that something might have already peaked and moved past its prime, or we've stayed in a certain situation for far too long. It's now kind of reaching the end of its life cycle or beginning the end of its life cycle. You may be noticing this with certain projects, maybe friendships, or even living situations, and we have to honor what is presenting here if we want to make the most of it, because it's also a chance to cut yourself loose. In fact, as we get on to your responsibility card when it comes to what you need to be responsible for if you want to maintain the highest trajectory for this week, you've actually got the Chariot upright, moving on, absolutely, overcoming a lot of obstacles that maybe have been put in front of you, or maybe things that you have been self-imposing that have been holding you back as well, whether they are senses of obligation, contracts, or maybe agreements that, again, have long expired, but you might still be participating in. With the Chariot card upright, it's about commencement. It's about getting the show on the road when it comes to you maybe stepping into a better employment circumstance, a better social circumstance. You've got all kinds of beautiful support here, but you've got to be okay with taking your leave as well, giving yourself permission to leave something that is finishing itself off behind, right? Sometimes we have a hard time doing that because maybe there is some old faulty conditioning in the way that we may have been brought up, or maybe things we've seen other people do. We get kind of guilt tripped, or we kind of feel like, no, I can't leave this situation unfinished. No, I can't walk away from it. As we talked about in the incoming wave and the live and the incoming wave that'll be coming out here this weekend, a lot of stories that are, for all intents and purposes, are gone and done, and everyone is moved on, and it's just impractical or just not necessarily in the highest interest of all concerned, are getting cut off anyway. So you don't really need to dwell. You don't need to hold on to all of that old baggage. You don't have to sit there and wait for anyone else either. So this is a week where it's time to cut yourself loose. In fact, as we get on to your material concerns when it comes to your, your work, your personal pursuits, your material abundance, you've got the Eight of Wands upright, and there are going to be some much more prosperous opportunities coming your way as a lot of rapid shifts are thrown on the table for you. Now, the thing is that this is taking off like a bit of a locomotive. This is not going to be a slow transition at all if you take it on. You may be stepping into either a new role or maybe a new venture that is already starting to pay off and pay out in big ways. You're also going to be finding that a lot of things that were maybe taking a bit too long to get off the ground for you, or maybe a lot of things that were waiting on other conditions to be met in order to move forward, are now having their day. They're now getting their chance to actually step forward and just go for it. Be able to move, be able to grow, be able to prosper without having to meet a lot of other conditions that we thought we had to, or other people thought had to be there. We also have your non-material shifts or your personal life, your closest one-on-one connections being affected by this, however, because with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, we are seeing a lot of your close one-on-one connections, relationship pursuits, and things like that not necessarily getting pushed aside due to busyness, but they are going to have their day or their moments be shortened a little bit this week. You're going to be finding that you're tied up in a lot of other activities. You're going to find out that you're being tied up in a lot of other work. And so a lot of your personal availability, and maybe the availability of a partner, maybe the availability of certain friends, it's just not really going to be there. Of course, check your moon sign for the less prominent story of the week as well, right? I've said that already a million times, so that should be in the zeitgeist. But with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, what we're seeing is that there may actually be a great deal of hard work that's just kind of pulling everyone away from being able to make any big steps or make any big conversations happen or concrete this week. It does not necessarily have to be a bad thing, but you are going to find that, when it comes to your interpersonal connections, you're going to be pretty tied up. If it's not a part of the work, if you're not working with these people, if you're not working with your partner, if they're not involved in whatever is going on over here with that Eight of Wands in either a direct or indirect way, it might not necessarily come up as a big flavor of your week. As we get on to your personal shifts and what's going on with you, we have the Six of Swords in reverse. And yes, this is a week where you're going to be confronting a lot of things that you have chosen not to move on from to your own detriment. I'm actually seeing this juxtaposed to the Chariot, and I also see it having a very strong relationship to that Empress reversed. Whether you've chosen to maintain a friendship for too long that you know you need to declutter out of your life, or maybe you've chosen to hold on to a certain story, stay in one place for too long, maybe waiting too much for other things to kind of lift you out or rescue you or deliver you. This is a week where you've got so much help coming your way, you can do it yourself. And I'm not saying that to be, Mr. Tough Love. I'm just saying, that's what's showing up here. And so with the Six of Swords reverse, some examination on, where have I been maybe a bit too indulgent of taking things too slowly with my own growth or with going my own way? How is it I can actually turn that around? So that is what I've got for you, Libra. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because I appreciate it. And should you ever want to get a session with me, go to my website, disintegrativemysticism.com.